Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's been a new year and therefore a new drift season coming up. This is round one of the state series at the moment. It's a bit of a long story getting out here. Obviously this car behind me, Smokey, blew up and that was round 4 last year. So we've been fighting to get this thing back together and ready for this round, and we made it, but only just. Ended up buying, like I put in one of the other videos, a second-hand 200,000 kilometer engine, ripping the heads, cams, and all the good bits off my old blown up engine, putting it on that bottom end, and because of that, we've got ourselves a car to drive for today. And yeah, a lot of extra work. I pretty much got this engine back to me a week and a half before the event, so crammed to all get it in the car, get it out to the tuner, had a couple of issues. Had to fix the O2 sensor last night in the dark. So yeah, been a long road, but we've got it here now. Not making quite the horsepower that it was. It's down to 270 from 295. But considering it's a 200,000 kilometer engine, is what it is. That's still plenty of power, particularly in an LS. So yeah, it's also next weekend is the wedding. So there's lots of things happening at once. Fly needs to go away. So lots of things happening at once, and yeah, pretty pleased just to be out here. Did a couple of laps out on the skid pan and checked the logs. Everything seems to be all right. So fingers crossed, we should have a problemless weekend. But that's not really the way that drifting goes. So got a night of prac. This is Saturday night, then comp is tomorrow morning. And yeah, stoked to have the car here looking as good as it does. And let's get out on track. I'm gonna do a couple of runs, get my eye in because I haven't driven this thing in a damn long time. So that's the night prac done. Overall, pretty good. Car's running quite well. Very, very natural for me to drive, which is really what I was starting to get to back at Malala last year. So stoked that I can pick up where I left off there. There was a couple of little issues though. The power steering reservoir decided it didn't really want to be held in its bracket anymore. Came off, hit a few things and sprung a leak just because it's a plastic reservoir. So luckily, I had a spare one from the engine that I bought, so we put that on. That's all A-OK. And also, it doesn't have a coolant overflow, so when it gets real hot, it pushes coolant out, and it can't recover it once it cools down. So it slowly goes down in a very small amount of coolant, so we just topped it off, and that stopped it. It wasn't really overheating so much as it just wasn't getting cooler. But anyway, that's it. That last run of the day there, I thought was pretty stellar. And real happy with that going into tomorrow. And car's got new tyres on it ready to go. So I'll see you in the morning. day 2, back out here at the bend, and yeah, car's ready to go. As I said last night, I was feeling pretty onto it, so got 2 sessions of practice coming up, get to drive with some of the best drivers in SA, and see how it all squares up against them. So I'm just stoked to get out on track and yeah, go run some doors, see how this layout is, and get to it.
Today we come to the Dale campaign pit lane, where Dale appears to actually be working on something.
Rare occasion. You need a David Attenborough voice.
So that's practice done. We did raise the tyre pressures a bit. It was just a little bit too difficult to keep right on the pipe, particularly when I'm chasing, if I got a slower car going around the bowl a bit lower. So raised the tyre pressures, made it a little bit easier to drive. And yeah, generally speaking, driving was pretty good. Did a couple of chases. The issue I'm having at the moment is it's got a very slight misfire. It happened in the second or the last session, about halfway through. Very slight misfire. I can hear it just backfiring ever so slightly occasionally. Changed coil packs. I had 2 lots of coil packs to chuck at it. Changed both of them. Still doing the same thing. No logs in the computer of any issues. So just going to have to roll through with this one. I don't think it's affecting the power too much, but yeah, could be a lot worse. So I'm going to get ready for the battles now. I'm not sure who I'm up against, but either way, I'm ready for a good time. Well, that didn't really go the way that I wanted it to. My chase run with Cam there, I had some problems coming out of the speed gate. You got to go from first to third very quickly, and I was so focused on that and making sure I didn't miss gears. I pulled the gears too early and ended up bogging down as he flew past me. Tried to play catch up, but I initiated, and then the car straightened, and I had to initiate again. From that point, I was like, bugger it, and decided to try and jump up onto his door once we got out of the bowl. But that also didn't go to plan because I pinched the front brake and went around. So that was not ideal. My lead run, it was okay. I probably went a little bit too deep a little early on the bowl, and that created some issues further around. I put a wheel off, but generally speaking, wasn't too bad. So that's my drop round or drop run done on the one that I spun. So I'm gonna have to make sure I keep it clean and consistent from here on out. But, you know, I'm having fun, so on to round 2. I think I'm up against Adam May in the JZX 100. running like garbage in that battle. It pretty much reminded me of my CA days where you got a clutch kick all the time. That left-hander in second gear, I reckon I clutch kicked about 2 or 3 times just to keep on Adam's door. But yeah, the runs were pretty decent. We ended up taking the car back. It had a few issues, really high intake air temps, like 70 degrees, so we're taking the bonnet off now. And we've done a couple of other things. Apparently there was an issue with the actual throttle pedal where I wasn't getting full throttle either, which probably didn't help. So, oh man, I'm hopefully I've got that stuff sorted now. I got another battle with Adam, just the way that it worked out. So yeah, go out for our 3rd round of battles. So that 3rd battle then, I had another one with Adam May. I was sitting 8th after round 2, he was sitting 9th, so we're both right on the cusp there. Unfortunately, the bonnet removal didn't solve the misfiring issue, so I pretty much drove like a dog most of the run. Enough that I could get through and not straighten, but having to do a lot more clutch kick and footwork than I'm used to. So yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. I was probably a bit too focused on that and not enough on my driving. And my driving suffered. I missed the inner clip on my lead run going into left-hander. And I also put a wheel off the track coming out of the bowl, which made the car do this weird jump thing. But anyway, so not ideal. I did get close to his door several times, but each time I did, I sort of had half a panic that I thought I was going to hit it and ended up dropping off his door. So yeah, needed to focus more on my driving and not focus so much on the misfiring car. But you know, there's a lesson there to learn. One of the things I'm learning with this though, the more and more that I drive Smokey, is this thing requires a different driving style to get the most out of it. It's probably one that pretty much all the top guys are using, which is lots of angle, lots of throttle, but that was never really the way that I drove the 180, so there's just a lot of time and thought processes that I'm having to put into that. But, you know, if you're not learning something, then it all gets a bit stale, and I quite frankly enjoy that learning process. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for that round. I didn't get into the top 8 in the end. I think I got 12th overall because those 2 runs at the end hurt me. Obviously the car's still misfiring, so we're going to dig into that at some point and figure it out. But for the moment, I achieved my 2 main goals. I didn't bin it, so it still looks pretty for the wedding when I drive it to my wedding next week, and also it drove on and off the trailer. So I'm going to be happy with that, considering the lead up to this event has been so busy and last minute because of the situation with the engine, that I'm going to class that as a win, and we'll roll on to round 2 and look to do a little bit better. So cheers for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Yeah, see you then.